It's time now for the best high school sports action from the WBCB Sports Network. Catch the best games from Bucks and Mercer County at WBCBSports.com and our Facebook page. Your home for high school sports is right here at WBCB 1490.
Welcome to the Notre Dame preview show here on the WBCB Sports Network. I'm Keith Noonan. This is sponsored by Capital Health, as well as the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, New Jersey Education Association, and, of course, Notre Dame High School with the Notre Dame, some of the players, and first-year head coach Tim Stevens. Coach, we'll start with you. Obviously, you took over this offseason. I believe you were on the staff last year, so how's the transition been, and what was the offseason like for you, getting the job and then realizing, okay, you've got a lot of work to do?
Honestly, it was a pretty good transition, pretty smooth. Prior to coming over last year, I spent 9 years over at West Windsor North. So having known the guys for the past year, it really helped make that transition, because I officially got hired in June. So it was good having that previous relationship, go get right into our off-season workouts and our summer league. So it's pretty smooth where we can kind of keep a lot of what we did from last year and just continue to build on that going forward.
So when you finally get told that you've landed the job, I mean, what's that initial thought or feeling like? Where is it like instant, like, wow, this is great, I'm so excited, and then it goes to, wow, okay, now I've got to jump into work mode? I mean, what's that 24-hour, 48-hour period like?
I mean, the phone call was just, pure joy and excitement, just thinking about the work we had put in last year and getting to continue on with that and lead such a group of great young men. So it was just excitement. And then it was right away, hit the huddle account, get on the film and start thinking about what we wanted to build on, what was great last year and what we need to fix going forward. So it was, calling the coaches. We're fortunate to bring back Paul Catania and Kevin Drulis, and right away, those are our phone calls that I make, and we got to work and started thinking about what we're going to be doing going forward.
And you got 3 returning players here. If you want to just quickly introduce them from last year and introduce them and kind of give us an idea of what their skill sets are.
Yeah, so we returned 3 seniors that are here, and we actually have 4 other seniors that return this year. So with me is Luke Foley, our point guard, Stisha Matillier, our big man, and then Jake Croce. He plays that 4-man role for us, who plays with the ball a little bit, play off the wing, play up top. 3 great returning players, and like I said, we have 4 more seniors that really helped with this transition for me to kind of get going right away from the start.
So I'll start first with Jake, and you played a lot of minutes last year. You guys had kind of a strange season. 12-14, but you made a pretty deep run in the Mercer County tournament and really played well. I mean, you ran up against a really tough Trenton team that ultimately won the game by about 10 points there. But you guys were in that game and you guys really fought hard. So when you reflect on last year as you get into this year, what are your main takeaways?
Yeah, so I think last year, a lot of what our struggles what that brings to this year is it brought us a lot closer as a team. Like Coach was saying, we're returning a lot of guys from that same team last year. So we understand, the mistakes that we made last year and the things that we have to do better going into this season. So I think that's really one of the biggest things that we can gain from last year.
So when you pop on that tape, or when you think about last year transitioning to this year, what are the key things that you think this team can do better than they did last year?
I think we could, one of our biggest issues last year was handling pressure in the full court. So I think this year with a little more experience that we'll be able to improve on that a good deal. And then, just moving the ball around, being unselfish as always, playing our game.
Stisha, over to you. You had obviously a lot of dominating performances, and there were times where teams would really key in on you, obviously, and try to stop you. So when you look back at last year with some of the greatness that you had, there was also times, like I said, where teams would really try to stop you. So what can you do this year to try to help that team win and gain an advantage?
Well, from learning from last year, like you said, the teams are focusing on me. I try to, try to create opportunities for my teammates because now since there's a man on me, two men of people on me, that's mean another man is open. And so, if they give me the ball, then I try to look at, corners or see where my teammates are open. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've already seen there's only been a couple of preview articles for this season, and I've already seen your name, Steve, pop up a couple of times where they're saying, you're one of the best big men, not only in the area, but possibly in the state. So when you read or see things like that or hear that, maybe you don't read it, maybe you're not focused on it, but when you hear something like that, I mean, what pops in your head?
Just to get better, it's kind of acts as motivation to kind of remain at that level and hopefully progress, and also to kind of help my team, to reach that status as well.
So over to you, Luke. Couple questions for you. I mean, you're obviously the point guard. You handled the ball a lot last year. Solid shooter from what I remember. And I mean, also a good defender and obviously a solid passer in the point guard role. But what are the differences you see from this team? Obviously, you have a lot of returning players like we've just talked about, but there's got to be some kind of a different feel. Obviously, new coach. So walk us through what you're thinking as we approach the first game on Friday.
Yeah, like Jake said, being able to know each other and the chemistry that we have, I think it just makes it so much better. Any pass I make, they'll know I'll cut, or they'll, it's just that chemistry that we build that I think is really going to help us moving forward this season.
And in that point guard role, what are you most focused on? Are you a point scorer? You're trying to find the open teammates. Obviously, Steesher and Jake are going to be a big part of this offense as well. So do you focus on the offense more, running the offense? You focus defensively first? I mean, what is Coach Stevens really getting you guys to hone in on?
Yeah, I think the big thing is to get paint touches, big man, obviously, and then through drives, that opens up different kick opportunities. So I think getting the ball in the paint and then keeping it out of the paint on defense are those two big things that we're really focusing on heading into Friday.
So, Coach, when you come into this lineup, right, because all three of these guys are very, very solid players when you stack them up in even the CVC, if we're just going locally. So when you have that talent already infused, I mean, what's your job as the coach? Because these guys already kind of know each other. They played a lot of minutes last year. So when you jumped in and you start practices, you start tryouts, whatever the case may be, I mean, what are you looking to accomplish?
I think the biggest thing for me right now is to pick up the energy and keep these guys at a high level. We want to, when we look back at some of our games last year, we walked off the floor and we were disappointed in maybe our effort or how we approached the game. So we want to make sure that every minute that we play this year, we're outworking our opponents. And win or lose, we just want to know that we can confidently say we gave every game everything we have as a group, and that starts with the coaching staff all the way down to the guys that are on the bench or even in the stands for the JV guys, things like that. So program wide, it's just about committing to outworking our opponent and respecting our opponents and outworking them every night.
And what do you? I mean, I kind of asked one of the players what they can really improve on from last year. What is it in your eyes, Coach, that they could do better than maybe they did last year where they fell short?
I think it's a defensive intensity and kind of creating our offense from our defense, where we can look to get easier baskets and score more consistently. We look at a lot of our games from last year, and we started the season especially really well defensively, holding our opponents to low numbers, but we were also scoring low numbers early on. So we want to, continue that defensive effort, and hopefully it leads to easy offense and more points for us this season.
Jake, back over to you. Obviously, there's been some movement and some players and some things going on with the other teams, at least that I know of. I'm not sure about your club there, but it seems like you guys are going to play a pretty tough schedule this year. I mean, you did last year too, but you have Robbinsville, Hamilton West, Trenton, Heightstown. I mean, all these teams rather are going to be pretty darn good. So I mean, Jake, when you look at it, do you look at the schedule and the strength of it and the players you might be playing up against again, or do you just really focus on this team and just trying to get better every day?
Yeah, we really do focus on our team. It's really about what we do and how we can get better every day. But I think we also do take pride in playing that tough schedule and going out every night and facing off against, a really good team so that prepares us for the late season, the postseason, so that we can be playing at our best.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like this year might be the most competitive that we've seen the CVC and the surrounding teams in a long while. I mean, a lot of good teams, like I mentioned. You guys played Trenton. I think you lost a couple of times to them in hard fought games, and you went 1-1 against Robbinsville. Robbinsville won 20 games last year, so you're going to face these teams again. What is it going to take to come out on top against some of these teams?
I think that is just going to take us playing our full 32-minute games of basketball. I think we got to come out strong, and we got to continue that intensity on defense and on the offensive side for the whole game. And I think that's really what's going to help us overcome any tougher opponents like that.
Steve, how about for you? Because again, you're going to be another big piece, whether it be defensively, blocking shots, getting rebounds, putting the ball in the hoop, and you're going to be playing up against really tough guys down there this season once again. So what is it that can give you the upper hand?
Similar to what Jake said, I feel like we just need to lock in completely on all aspects of the game, such as offense and defense, especially on the defensive side. And I feel that once we own those things down, we'll be a really good team.
What was it that you worked on the most, Steve, this offseason?
Mostly just on defensive wise. So, and then, just defensive wise.
Luke, what would you say the big challenge of this schedule is going to provide you guys? Obviously, you guys have talent, but what's the big hurdle that you feel can get this team over this tough schedule?
I think it's playing 32 minutes of hard basketball. We're playing a couple games in a row to start the season, Friday, Saturday, and with the shortened season, we're going to play a lot of games in a short amount of time. So I think it'll really get us conditioned for when we really need it, down the road when we need to play, 32 of our best minutes of basketball in a row.
That's obviously the key, right? Consistency, and consistency obviously is something that you guys are talking about. I mean, all three of you basically just said the same thing. We wanted to focus on just playing our best minutes throughout the entire game. And Luke, what is it that you maybe have focused on this offseason that you feel might be better in your game than maybe last year?
I think it's definitely being, mentally locked in. When you're in that fourth quarter, they're pressing. You have to be able to slow the game down in your mind and be able to handle that pressure, handle the ball, be able to, move that ball up the court. So I think really working, mentally and staying mentally strong, working through adversity is something that I really worked on. I think, could be a strength for me moving forward.
Coach, what is that like? Because that isn't really talked about as much. The mental aspect of, especially close games, which you would imagine you're going to be in a lot of them in your first year as head coach here. So how do you get the players to A, buy into that kind of stuff, and B, how do you teach that if it can be taught?
I mean, it's so difficult to simulate those situations in practice. But we do as best we can, with during practice, putting situations on the board, putting scores up there, time on the clock, and working against situations that pop up every year. We know the different games that are gonna happen. I think about a couple of games last year where we kind of fell apart down the stretch, and games that we controlled, we kind of gave away because the intensity picked up. So it's trying to simulate that as best we can in practice. And then when we get into the games, over the summer, we played in some summer leagues and things like that. We try to simulate that as best we can and work on it throughout the off season. So you're never going to be 100% prepared, but as much as we can and as many different situations as we can throw at them in practice, that's what we're going to do to try and get them prepared for that.
Jake, back over to you about that mental aspect, because it is interesting, right? Now you've had experience in all these close games from last year specifically, and now you can kind of carry that over. How much did you learn from last year getting so many minutes?
Oh, I think I learned like a lot. I think that those minutes are invaluable, even in those tough games that, we didn't come out on top. I think that I was able to pick up a lot of good experience and realize the errors that I was making so that now I can go back into those same situations and realize what it is that I have to do better in order for us to succeed.
Is there any like one play or something that sticks in your mind that you still think about that said, I wish I could have that back and I'm going to change that this year?
Yeah, it's not really a matter of as much one play, but just a few times I can remember, being stuck back behind half court and just, maybe making a pass to a guy and just staring at him and it gets intercepted and taken for an open fast break layup and stuff like that. So it's just mistakes like that that we're gonna have to not make as many of those this year to be successful.
Right. And turning the ball over, obviously, something that a team like Trenton is known for, right? They are very up tempo and they try to get after the ball and play physical defense. And, you guys have kind of harped on that defensive mindset. You guys want to play 32 minutes of really solid defense. Steesher, for you, what is that mental aspect for you going into this season where you've had a year under your belt at Notre Dame? So, what are the things that you have maybe kind of worked on or thought of that you could maybe do to improve that mental side of it, whether it be late free throws? I mean, what is something that you can think of that maybe you're ready to kind of get redemption on?
There's a lot of things, such as being a better teammate, setting better screens, getting the rebounds for my guys, and also just to slow the game down because last season I was kind of, since due to the inexperience, I was kind of rushing things. So this season, kind of like take our time, let the clock roll, and let our plays run.
So, do you feel in practice so far this year that you've been able to kind of have some of those scenarios go a little bit better than last year?
Yes, of course. With the help of Coach Stevens and our player and my players, yes, yes, they kind of simulated the situations, and you kind of have time to go look at it at a different angle, especially from Coach Stevens, especially on the defensive side. So instead of like standing all the way up, trying to get a defensive stance, kind of slow the players down from the paint and stuff like that.
So, Luke, it is, your guys' senior year. So, the last year here at Notre Dame, and of course, you have a new coach that's brought in. So, tell me a little bit about some of the differences between maybe last year's coaching, if it, is coaching, or just talk more about Coach Stevens coming in. What are some of the differences that you've noticed?
Yeah, I think the intensity, being able, now that I know I'm a senior, every minute, every second matters now, so I'm not getting another game back. I might not get another possession back. So everything matters. So that intensity has to be 110% every single time. And Coach Stevens preaches that, along with Coach Cut, Coach Julius, they all preach that during practice. And so, that's something that, just changed with time, because now I know that I don't have that other season to rely on. So these are the last couple of games I have with my guys. So I want to make sure that everything counts, and, hopefully we work towards a lot of victories.
Jake, what's your feeling on that? Is there more pressure because it's senior year now and you only get one more crack at it?
I don't know if I would say it's more pressure, but you definitely do feel like it's like your last year. You definitely are aware of it as you're playing. But I think it's more excitement for us because we feel like as a team that we're gonna be able to play really well this year. So I think it's not as much like we're worried about the last day and like it's going to be terrible. We're more excited for what's ahead of us right now and making the most out of it.
Steve, so you talked a little bit before about being maybe a better teammate. I'm wondering now that you had last year under your belt, what is it that maybe you learned that you have carried into this season that will make you that better teammate that you'd be happy with?
Just trying to look for open guys on my team. Last year I was kind of just mainly focusing on the basket, but now we're kind of trying to expand our horizons with our team, and such as Luke and Jake and other members of the team, and just set better screens because screens are very effective for the game, and just getting to the right spots.
Now, is that something you picked up on initially after the season, or did one of the coaches come up to you and say, hey, maybe, we're running a little bit of a different system here this year. Let's try to do this. I mean, what was that, scenario like?
I feel like it was a whole cooperation with the team and myself, and obviously my this is the coaches and the team.
So, Luke, back to you. What would you say are some of the strengths of this team that you could point to this season and say, we're pretty good at this?
I think definitely experience, chemistry, I think are the two biggest things. And then, we have our big guy inside, and I think we have a really good offensive mindset going in. And Chris Donnie, two returning seniors who can really shoot the ball. Steisher in the paint, and then Jake can do it all really. So I think we got, 5 guys on the offensive side and on the defensive side that can really, put together a good season. So I think that's really the big thing that for me is the chemistry, the experience, and then the talent that I think, our whole team brings.
Coach, what would you say? Would you say that's an accurate description where you kind of have guys that can do it all, right? I mean, you have 3-point shooters. You got a couple of those. You have Steisher, obviously, in the middle, so you don't have to worry too much about that. And obviously, the rebounding is going to be a big thing for you guys. So what would you describe as some of the bigger strengths for you guys?
I mean, I think it's our biggest strength is probably their understanding of each other. It's not only is it the starting 5 that we have 5 guys that could hurt you in different ways, and we know that we can feed the hot hand, which could be different every night. Some nights it's going to be our big guy, and sometimes it could be Jake or Chris, or it could be Luke having a good shooting night. But also, we bring some guys off the bench that are going to help us. We have 2 other seniors, Dylan and Carter, that are going to definitely play important minutes for us, and then we have some 3 juniors that should get a lot of playing time this year in Liam Kilcommons, Noah Mathis, and JP Merloose. So we have a little bit of depth too that I think. Now, our depth isn't maybe not as much experience as our starters, but there's still guys that can come out there and contribute. So not only is that helpful during a game, but it makes our practices more competitive. And I think ultimately for us to reach our goals, we have to compete against each other every day. We have to challenge each other every day. And the fact that these guys have been doing that has been awesome to see. It's fun to be a part of, and it's really what's going to allow us to achieve great things this year.
Now, I've kind of talked about some of the other, good teams that you guys are going to be playing, but do you envision, Coach, that you want to try to set your own pace to the game? Like, are you going to try to play and try to beat other teams at maybe their own game, or are you going to try to, slow things down and, run whatever you want? I mean, what is this team going to look like on the floor?
Honestly, for us, I think it's about playing our brand of basketball, playing Notre Dame basketball. The coaches will talk about our other teams. We're obviously going to scout. We're going to understand what the other teams are good at and the ways we want to attack them. But I think for the players, what they need to understand is just to play Notre Dame basketball. If we play our brand of basketball and we trust in each other and we play as a cohesive unit, we should be just fine, and we'll make adjustments depending on opponents. Right now our concern is Princeton High School, and we'll see what we can do against them, and then we'll move on from there. But right now our big focus for the preseason was playing Notre Dame basketball, and it's great defense that leads to easy offense. That's, I guess, the best way to describe us now, and we'll see what we say midseason and postseason, but that's what we're looking for right now.
Well, Jake, Luke kind of described you as a guy that can kind of do it all. And I remember, I mean, you're a solid 3-point shooter. You're a solid jump shooter. You can get to the rim. I mean, what is it when, you have these guys that you played with, right? So you can pass it. But if you're starting to feel it, I mean, what is that among the teammates? Is it, I'm feeling it, so I'm gonna, fire up some shots? Or what's the feeling like with this offense?
Yeah, so our motto has always been it's we not me. So if I am feeling it like that, I'm obviously my teammates are gonna be able to see that and they'll try to get me shots. But it could be anybody at any time, any night. It could be Luke, could be Steisher, could be Chris, could be Donovan, anybody who's ever the hot hand, that's who we're looking to go to.
How do you feel the chemistry is developed? I've heard it a couple of times, whether it be from coach or somebody else. Obviously, you have chemistry with these guys from last year, but it's got to be to the nth degree now, right? I mean, you guys have played for, a couple of years now. So tell the audience a little bit more about the chemistry that's developing this year, or what is it like right now?
Yeah, so I think our chemistry is really at the height of what it could even be. Not only have we been playing together so much, even out of the season in the fall and summer leagues, but we also just hang out together. Like we'll go out and do things together. We'll have team dinners. We'll do stuff like that. So I think that we really have a really good understanding of each other, and that's going to come out on the court during our games.
Steisha, do you feel that as well? I mean, your second year here with these guys, and we talked about growth from last year. And do you really feel that this team has another dimension in that sense, where you guys have much more of a bond than maybe you did even last year?
Of course. In Notre Dame, it's kind of like a family. We call ourselves an Irish family, and like Jake said, we go on hangouts everywhere. We play together. We kind of support each other. Even so this is Luke. He has baseball games. We come to his games, and we just a whole big family. So just like.
How excited are you to finally run out onto that floor on Friday night? I mean, it's been a while, right? And obviously, you guys lost in the States and you lost in that semifinal, but looking forward to this year, this team could be pretty darn good. I mean, right, Steve? I mean, you've got to be pretty excited to get back out there.
Yes, very excited. Hopefully we step up, meet the same expectation, and maybe even propel past that. And so, just very excited. We improved on some things and are looking to improve even more every single time.
Luke, kind of same feeling for you. You're itching to get back out there. I mean, you guys had obviously just finished up practice, so I'm sure you want to get out of here soon. But outside of that, I mean, how excited are you to look forward to Friday night and finally rolling the ball out there and getting it going?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Last year, still kind of in the middle of COVID, we didn't really know, the atmosphere, we kind of created it. And so hopefully, we can get some students there, some relatives there to kind of, bring the energy, help us bring the energy. And I think that'll really, that's getting me even more excited. I'm already excited as it is to get out and play with these guys. But, the thought of having a sold out crowd, student section there, that's something that's really, getting me more going to get ready for Friday.
Yeah, and I feel like at least one player in every one of these preview shows has mentioned that, like, hey, we do have to recognize that, we're back as far as fans go fully, and we don't really have to worry about it, at least at the moment. So, I mean, Coach, that's got to be exciting too. I mean, the first few games with everybody back and getting it's kind of easier to motivate the players, no?
Oh, absolutely. I'm excited to see our fans back in the stands. We had a couple games last year, late in the season, especially the game at Robbinsville. We had a good crowd come in, and then the county tournament. So it was such a great feeling, and I feel like that these guys deserve that more than anything else. I couldn't imagine being a high school student for the last 3 years and have to kind of go through the things they've gone through. It was hard enough as a teacher and a coach to go through it. So I can only imagine as a teenager. So I'm just excited for these guys to be able to play in front of their peers, their family members, and really feel that energy. We got tastes of it last year, but if we can pack those stands each night, it's a different vibe throughout the whole year. So I'm excited for them and the whole CBC. It's should be very exciting season. Like you said, there's a lot of good teams, a lot of parity throughout the entire league. Each night it's going to be a battle. There's no easy ones out there. So we're excited for that challenge.
No question. Final question for you guys. We'll go around the room in kind of the same order. So we'll start with you, Jake. Any any college thought as far as you want to maybe play basketball, or if there's any other sport? I mean, what's the college situation there, if there is one?
Yeah, so right now, obviously I'm applying to schools and I am looking to play in college. I'm just trying to figure out, my options and figure out really what's going to be the best fit for me.
Awesome. Well, best of luck to you with that. Steve, any thought on that?
I'm committed to the United States Military Academy, and just excited for the opportunity and with the support of my guys. Hopefully, we reach there.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's great to hear. And how about you, Luke? I know you also pitch. So what's your situation?
I'm going to Muhlenberg College for baseball. But I'm really excited to get out here with these guys on the court, and then I'll go, fight with my other brothers out there on the field. But so I'm going to Muhlenberg College to play baseball.
Awesome. Congratulations. And I wish you guys absolute best of luck. I'm sure that I'll be seeing you this year at some point down the line. And thanks for carving out some time tonight, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got it. This has been sponsored once again by Capital Health, the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, New Jersey Education Association, and Notre Dame High School. Thanks, guys, and best of luck. This has been the Notre Dame Preview Show here on the WBCB Sports Network.